Greetings, BUSN 2380 Principles of Marketing. It's June 1st and it's our first day of class. And remember, this is the day that your course content and your assignments and all of that becomes available. And it's very important to get in there, familiarize yourself with the course, and complete some of your initial assignments. And hopefully you have your plan using the schedule that I provided to start completing those assignments on time and even work ahead a little bit, because remember, you have some weeks coming soon where you have 2 chapters due. So you want to be ready for that so that you can just methodically proceed through this summer semester. So it is our first day, our first week of classes. Welcome! And I'm Dr. McGrory. Again, I'll be your instructor for this semester. So the first thing I want to do is I want to go to my browser. And this is Chrome. It is one of the preferred browsers, one of the recommended browsers. Firefox is also good. You may be using Microsoft Edge, which is that blue E that you click, but it's always good to have multiple browsers. In that way, if something doesn't work well in one, you just open up the other browser, give it a try in that browser. Sometimes different browsers make a difference, and they're free, so why not? Okay. From the Southwest homepage, what a lot of students will do is they'll click My Southwest and they'll log into PAWS in that way. And that's okay, but a faster way that you might be interested in is up here on the address bar, right? Click up there and then start typing eLearn. And see how the browser is completing it, because once you do this, you will only have to start typing it and it'll fill it in, the rest of it in for you. eLearn.southwest.tn.edu. Okay, so instead of my.southwest.tn.edu, just replace the my with eLearn. That takes you right into our e-learning system, which is PAWS. On this page, you can go to this administrative login, and in that way you don't have to type in your full username, at Southwest and all that. I don't know why mine comes up with that, but I'm going to type mine in, so I'm going to pause for just a moment. So I'm in PAWS. This is the main PAWS page, and you can either scroll down and find your courses, kind of large icons down here, or you can go up to the waffle at the top. One thing I'll point out down here on these pictures is notice this little push pin. If you've been taking classes at Southwest for a while and you have a long list of classes, you may want to go ahead and click that push pin icon, which is what I've done. It keeps those at the top. So each semester I click again to unmark those, and then I click the new classes to keep them at the top. Okay, so it just makes them very quick when you have a long list of classes to look through. I see that our Principles of Marketing class is listed first for me, so I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And now that I'm in my teacher account, I'm logged in, and I want to make sure that I'm demonstrating this as a student so that our screens look the same. Okay, the first thing you'll see is this information about the syllabus. You can ignore this. If you want, just click this little drop down box and collapse this widget to get it out of the way, or you can scroll down. I have a nice course welcome message for you that I hope you'll read, and also some contact information for me. So these are our course announcements, but feel free to get rid of this widget. Now, across the top, now that you're actually in the class, you see that there's a class menu. Click on Content, and I've been in here before, so you're seeing some of my progress, but you can start by clicking Overview if you want. Course Schedule. Now, I will caution you a little bit on that. Since a lot of our assignments are in Connect, I do not populate the calendar in PAWS. If you want to do that and use that as your digital calendar, you are welcome to do that. Remember, I provided you with this class schedule, this printable page that makes it a very easy reference for you to put in whatever digital calendar you prefer. Okay? Going down a little bit further, I'm going to click Table of Contents. Now, what that allows me to do is, first of all, see all these modules on the side, but also I can scroll and I can see everything that's in the course just by scrolling down. I don't want to make you seasick, but I just wanted to demonstrate that. what's relevant to us today on this very first day is to go ahead and click on this Getting Started, Syllabus, Schedule, Connect, Module Discussion Rubrics. Lots of information here. So I've clicked that. You see the very first thing is the syllabus. I'm going to go ahead and click that. It's a PDF. Now, I'm not going to go through it because we did that in another video, so make sure you're watching all these videos because I have so much information. I would just encourage you to be patient as you wait for this PDF file to load. They can be kind of large. I tend to save them to my computer so I can reference it. If you're fortunate enough to have a printer, you can print it and keep it handy, or you can go to campus and just kind of print all the documents that you need so that you can take them home, have a nice little folder or stack of papers that you can quickly reference. So there's our syllabus. I've emailed this to you as well. If you want to download it, there it is. Okay. Let me scroll back up. Now across the top, this is what they call breadcrumbs. It's kind of like you've left a trail of breadcrumbs as you've walked along the path, and it means that you can go back to these starting points. I could go all the way back up to table of contents, but I think I'm just going to go to getting started because that's really what we were exploring. I have a note about my office hours. I encourage you to read that. I also have you're going to have some module discussions that are required at the same time as your test. You might remember that as we reviewed the schedule. Well, how is that going to be graded? This PDF is going to give you that information, so I encourage you to look at it. I'm going to try to keep this video a little shorter, so I'm not going to go through it, but I want you to know that that information is there, and you definitely want to reference that as you're making your module discussion, which is when you do your first test. There's that class schedule that we've reviewed in depth. And look at this, required assignment, create your Connect username. Remember, your access is included through your enrollment. And I say in DEI, it's now called Inclusive Access. It's been called Include Ed, so it's changed names. But the point is you've already bought your access. So what does this assignment tell me? It says that I need to go out to Connect and I need to create my username and password, and that I've already purchased that access. If I have trouble, call technical support. Now, what kind of things do I need to know? Do the steps on a laptop or desktop, not on your cell phone. Now, here's why I say that. Students have reported back to me that when they are trying to complete these steps on their cell phone, that sometimes they run into technical difficulties. If that's your situation and that's what you're using, then of course that's what you're going to use. But if you run into problems, you're going to need to call that Connect Technical Support, not the Southwest, but the Connect Technical Support to get that resolved. The technical aspects of your username and password I can't help you with, I'm sorry. Okay, so open the Connect registration page that I provided, and we'll talk more about that. There's a help section. Open the website for our class. Hugely important. If you are a Connect user, you've used it in other classes, and you say to yourself, I'm just going to open up Connect in the way that I always have, then you're not going to make that critical link between your username and our class. So you have to, for the first login, even if you have 5 classes and they all use Connect, you're going to start at the Connect website that your instructor provides for that initial login, because that connection needs to be made between your username and that class. Let's see, I'm going to follow the on-screen instructions until I see the assignments. That's important. We're going to return to our Connect website, using that username and password. And again, here's the tech support information if you need that. There's the 800 number. There's a website as well. But you see that, you can click on these. There's more information. How do your grades work in Connect? This looks very important to me, and I would encourage you to explore that. Now I'm going to scroll back up into my breadcrumbs and go to this Getting Started. And we've covered some of these things. Now I need to go ahead and complete that assignment, so I think I'll do that now. But I am looking ahead, and look at this. It says link to our class in Connect. I'm going to click on that. Now the first thing, I've got this web page open. It goes to our class, and the first thing I'm going to verify is this the semester that I'm taking this class. Is this my class? If it says business statistics, not my class. I need to go back. Something is wrong. Don't just go logging into something that's not your class. And it says enter your email to join the class. So I'm going to make up an email, but you should use an email where you can receive feedback from it, right? If you need to reset your password, if something goes by. What email should you use? Whatever one you want. Southwest email, Gmail, Yahoo, BellSouth, AOL, whichever email address you prefer. My requirement is that you use the first name and last name as it is on file with the Southwest College, with our college on the official roster. The way that you are listed in our class list, that's how your name needs to be entered here. Okay, so let me make up an email address. I'm going to pause the video for just a moment. So I've got my email address in there. I'm going to click on Begin. And now I need to type my email address in there again, and I need to fill out a little bit of information. So again, I'm going to pause the video. So I have filled in the registration page. Now this is a sample account that I'll use as needed to demonstrate different things to you in terms of Connect. I like to use the pretend name Betty Baker. This is my pretend student. This is just a demonstration account. There is no Betty Baker. You've got your password in there. You've got your security question. You can certainly put your cell phone in there. Notice it's optional. That can sometimes help you reset your password if needed. I'm not sure why they have our campus listed twice. I just used the first one. You're free to do that as well. And you do need to agree to their terms of service before continuing, and you can see you can read them here. I'm going to click on Continue. Now you might think you're done, but you're not. Okay, you've got a few more steps. Remember, don't quit until you see the assignments. Until you see the assignments. Very important. What the first thing that Connect does is it looks to see if you are a member of other courses. It's going to make sure that that's all connected under your one email address so that you don't have to log in under a different email or different website each time. If you want it to make that connection, then you tell it to find your account. I can tell you I made up my email address. It's not connected to anything else. So I'm going to tell it, no thanks, I want to continue with my new email. But for you, I would suggest find my account. Why not? Here again, I need to double check. Remember, the syllabus has the book, the edition. Let's just make sure. Gruel, M for marketing, 7th edition, ISBN, and those ISBNs vary by the format of the book and the bundle and the packaging. So, that's the right ISBN, okay? Notice it tells me when this is going to expire. I actually have 5 months of access, 3 weeks and 6 days. So it's going to expire on November 28th. Might just want to know that. Click Confirm. Now again, you might be tempted, especially if you're on a very small cell phone screen, to close your browser at this point and say, well, at least I created my username. And if you do, the feedback that I have received from students is that you then have difficulty logging in. I hope not, but that is what students have reported back to me. So make sure, if I can give you this tip, go to Connect. Click that button. Now, this is, you might imagine, my most hated screen. I think I might have even mentioned that in another video. Why? Because they are blocking from you, they're filtering from you all the great information that I spent much time organizing for you, and they've done it by making this little to-do list. And if you're already aware of all that other content, then I can see that this view might be helpful, but otherwise what it does is it removes information from you. Okay, it's a nice to-do list, but the to-do list doesn't always paint the whole picture, and I'm going to show you that. Over here on the side, you see where it says Menu? Click on Menu. And my preferred view for you, my greatest recommendation to you, you can explore all of these views. They all have information to offer. But classes, see this one that looks like the little lectern, the little podium? It's called the Classes menu item. Click on that. First of all, you will see any class that you're registered in. So if you have accounting and they're using Connect this summer, and you've registered already, you'll see it listed there. So I'm only have the one class, so I'm going to click on that for this username. Look at all this information, and I couldn't see any of it under that to-do list, which is the default view. Every time you log into Connect, it's going to throw you into that to-do list, and you're going to miss important details. So I encourage you, again, menu, classes, then click our class. So what do you see here? Let me close that up. On the left-hand side, you see that if you feel you also need a printed book, then you can rent one. If you would like to buy a print loose leaf copy of the book, there is a link there for you to do that. Those are optional things for those who would like that in addition to the ebook. Most students find that the ebook is enough, okay? Over here, look at this. There's kind of some tutorials that might help you get familiar. You would not have seen those in that to-do list, right? But you can explore those. And under Chapter 1, Overview of Marketing, it says there's 5 assignments or 5 items. And I can look forward into each chapter, look at that 5 items, and look at this tip that you would have completely missed. 2 chapters due this week when you get to Chapter 3 and 4, right? So I'm prompting you with all this information completely hidden by that to-do filtered view. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open Chapter 1, the Overview of Marketing, and I see inside of it these 5 assignments that I need to do by June the 7th. Now these are going to take time, so I want to pace myself, and I want to walk you through it so you understand what to do with each one. The first one is what's called the Learn Smart assignment. You'll notice that it's also called the Smart Book. It is a very smart book. But this is a required assignment, and it's a 20-point assignment, so you want to make sure that you do this one, and it's going to take a little bit of time. Now to open this, a common source of confusion is students try to double-click the name. I would too. That seems like where you should click, but we need to move over here to these blue arrow buttons, or blue boxes with white arrows in it. Click on that. And in that, it's going to tell you that, you have 1 attempt. Well, that's a little misleading because it's a very long attempt. This Learn Smart assignment is not like a quiz. You don't take it and you miss one and oh well, you just move on. This is about interactive reading, and the way to earn your points for this assignment is to complete the greatest percentage of the interactive reading assignment, which means answering questions along the way. You earn 100% when you get to the end of the interactive reading assignment. Okay, so that 1 attempt is you coming in and out of this assignment until the due date. Now the minute, and I mean the minute, the assignment is due, so it's due at 11:55, at 11:56 you might be in the book, you might be reading, you might be answering questions, but you're no longer earning points. You say, yes, but it never told me, and it won't necessarily. It just, when you're past that due date and time, you're no longer earning points. So you need to plan time to complete this. It is a 20-point assignment, as you see here. When is it due? Well, there's the due date right there. Lots of ways that you see the due dates, but your schedule that I've emailed you and that is available to you in PAWS is always going to be the most comprehensive schedule. So you need to use that printable schedule. Continue. Now, I have been in this before under my student account. The recording didn't go well, so I'm in here again demonstrating, and it says, welcome back to me. And it says that I can read or I can answer questions. Well, it kind of depends how you like to approach this. If you prefer to read the book backwards, one of my college professors said to me one time, students read the book backwards. They have a question, they flip to the index in the back, they find out the answer to that question, they flip to that page, and they get the answer. And I think that's probably an efficient way to do things, and many of you may read that way, where you want to just answer questions and look up information as needed. Other students, you don't like that. You say, give me the information, present it in a clear, logical manner, then ask me the questions. That's fine too. Let me show you these two modes. I'm going to begin by saying I want to read. Now, when I come into this book, you probably will not initially see yellow highlighting, but you will as you continue to use the book, because as you answer questions, this Learn Smart or Smart Book assignment says, I can tell based on the way that you've answered questions that you need to study something, or that you can skip it. Isn't that something? Why should you skip something? If you already know it, the most efficient use of your time is to read on topics that you do not know, right? So it's about answering these questions. Well, this is my book. This is what it looks like. I just explained the highlighting. It's interactive. You can click on links. I could go to chapter 2. I can go see a particular exhibit, in that case this exhibit. And I'm just going to scroll down. I mean, it looks just like the printed book. I do understand some people like to have a separate printed book. It is not required for this class. As I scroll down, notice these page numbers. If you had a printed book, or if your mind reference is, well, how does this look in a printed book? You would be on page 6 of the book. It's just like as if it was printed. Okay? See how that works? And this is kind of a long page. I can scroll. I don't want to make you dizzy, but I'm going to scroll to the bottom. And reading is great, and reading is informative, and it builds skills. And as an assignment, you know, we wouldn't want to take your book away, which is why you're able to go into this after the due date. You just don't earn points after the due date. So how do we earn these points? Well, do you see down here in the left corner where it says to questions? Go to the questions. I'm going to click on that. Now, these are randomized questions about the concepts that are going to be assessed during this Learn Smart. In this particular Learn Smart, there are 30 concepts. You will be asked 2 questions on each concept. When you answer a question correctly, see this bar up here? It's half shaded. That means that I've answered 1 question correct in regards to that particular topic. My goal is to fill up this whole thing so that it's completely shaded. That means I've successfully answered questions to all 30 concepts. Now again, 2 questions per concept. But don't get stressed. It takes time. Reading takes time. Reading for comprehension takes time. But if you don't know the answer, see this link here? Read about the concept. That will help me quickly, hopefully, find the answer, because it takes me to the page and to the part of the page with the answer. So let's kind of investigate this and see this. Now, in this lower right hand corner, if I just want to go back to reading, that's how I would do that. Okay, we'll go back and forth between questions and reading a few times so that you feel more comfortable with it. Well, let's look at this question. A core aspect of marketing involves blank. Now, some questions are fill in the blank, some are multiple choice, some are multi-select. It's random. A core aspect of marketing involves blank, which is a transaction in which things of value are traded by buyers and sellers. A core aspect of marketing involves something which is a transaction in which things of values are traded by buyers and sellers. Well, I don't know, so let's click read about the concept. Did you see it go through the book? And it's taking me to the part of the page that contains the answers. Oftentimes it is in the yellow highlight, although not always. Okay, it says marketing is an exchange, the trade of things of value between the buyer and the seller, so that each is better off as a result. I just learned something, right? I didn't have to spend hours going through the book and trying to find the answer to the question. Instead, I was presented with a question. If I knew the answer, I answer it and I continue on. That might be very fast. If I don't know the answer, I go straight to that part of the book that reinforces or teaches me, allows me to learn, supports my learning, and now I know the answer. How do I get back to the question? 2 questions. So I think it is an exchange. Is that what you think? Now, down here at the bottom, rate your confidence. This is how you submit the answer to the question. It does not hurt your grade on this question. It just allows you later on to look at reports so to help you study. Because if I get this answer right, but I have very low confidence, that might be something that I need to study later. If I get this question wrong and I had really high confidence, I was sure that was the answer, but it was wrong, then it's something I need to study later on before the test. So this interactive book is great for learning, just really deep diving into your learning experience. Let's just see. I had to look that up. I don't know. My confidence is a little shaky. I'm going to say I have low confidence on this. Hey, I got it right. It did not detract. The fact that I said I have low confidence did not detract from the answer. And I earned another little partial shading in my bars up here. Now, why didn't it finish shading the first bar? Well, because the concept was actually the second concept. Okay, so depending on which concept, that's the bar that it's going to shade. And you have to answer 2 questions on each concept. Okay, so it was fill in the blank. I answered that correctly. It's showing me that. It's giving me the correct answer. Great learning opportunity. Well, let's go on to the next question. Next question, choose every correct answer. Which of the following are elements of the marketing mix? Now, if I know this, I don't have to go read about the concept. I can just simply say product, price, right? Is it purchase? Is it portfolio? I think I'm pretty confident in this, so I'm going to say I have high confidence this time. Excellent. Got those answers right, and it's, confirming it up here. It's also telling me here. Let's do one more. Notice my bars up here. I've gotten just a little bit of another outcome completed. Next question. Each of the 4 P's plays a distinct role in adding value for customers and firms. Product, the first of the 4 P's, is responsible for... Now, we know it just said product. Obviously, the answer is not promotion, but let's click that one because I don't know. I don't know. And I'm going to say, what is my confidence? Maybe I have medium confidence because I'm just trying to fly through this and I'm not even going to go read the answer. Now, look at this in terms of my bars. Incorrect answer. It tells me the correct answer was developing goods and services, and I did not get any further completion in the Learn Smart assignment. So that's how you would progress through this assignment. At any time you can go back to reading the book by clicking on reading. At any time you can go back to questions by clicking on to the questions. And at any time you can exit this assignment. Just remember, you need to complete this before the due date and time, so 11:55. I'm going to exit this assignment. Are you sure? It says I can pick up where I left off. I can until the due date. Don't forget, you got to finish by the due date and time. So exit. Now let's see where we are. This was Chapter 1, our 5 assignments. I'm going to click to expand. And here I am, and I could continue to go in and out of that assignment. Okay, I'm going to look now at these interactive homework assignments. The thing to remember here is that you only need to complete one of the 2 options. The second thing to remember is, how do you view your feedback? Well, in the syllabus, I say to you, I only have a limited number of scenarios that I can walk you through on these assignments. And because of that, I cannot, if I gave you the feedback, it would just be handing you the answers. And I know the temptation here. Instead of being about the learning, it would just be, let me just fill in the answers, and oh, I'll come back and study later, or I'll learn it later. And later, you have busy schedules, folks, and I know it's hard for you to return for later. So instead, what you would do, pick whichever one. Now, if you want to try one and then try the other one, you're welcome to do that. No problems at all. Let me start off with this interactive homework, and I'm going to click on to open the assignment, this blue box over here. It says you have unlimited attempts. It's a 10-point assignment, reminds me of the due date and all that. And I already took one attempt. I've been in this assignment previously. I just clicked begin. It says, okay, here we go, let's get started. Now I do have some instructions at the top that remind you you're only required to complete one of the two available options. Let me also emphasize this. If you complete both, it is only counted once. It's one assignment. You cannot decide that this assignment takes the place of another assignment. That's not the way that the syllabus has explained this. It's very important that you complete all of the required assignments and that you understand that of the interactive homework, you complete one of the two options. Okay, so we're not going to negotiate that later. Go ahead and click on continue. Now, this uses the mouse, and so it's very interactive, and you can read these instructions at the top. One thing to note is that in these interactive assignments, the drag and drop, they typically have you put your mouse over something. So I know that the very, very first time I ever looked at these assignments, I read the instructions and I was like, well, how do I know what is meant by travel backpacks? They could be selling a service. They could be about product or price or place. How do I know? Well, I have to get more information, which I get by putting my mouse over it. Once you look at that, then you can decide, and I'm not going to pay attention to this. I'm just going to drag these. Obviously, this is not going to be the right answer. Just dragging to complete this one. Now, the temptation is going to be to click submit. No, 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 no. Instead, look at the bottom. It says this is only task 1 of 6. I need to click next. Always look at that part at the bottom. Now I have this video, and an important thing on these pages is always to scroll down. So I'm going to play the video. It's got closed captions. I'm going to listen to the video or use the closed captions to read about the video, and then I'm going to answer questions about this. Now I'm not going to read the question. I'm just arbitrarily picking A, and then I'm going to click next and see how I'm moving into the next of my 6 tasks. The video is displayed again, but a new question is down at the bottom. So make sure you're scrolling down and that you understand this is a different question. Click on next. Here the video is repeated, and that's just in case you need to go back, to a certain part in the video. So again, you'll read and answer the question. Now, what if I forget and I do, I'm not even done with all 6 parts and I try to submit? It's going to tell me you have 2 incompletes, so I can cancel and come right back in and say, oops, I forgot to finish that. Let me do that. And then I'll answer one more. And now that I'm at the end of the 6, and I can go back and forth, I'm going to go ahead and submit. And it says to me that I can exit now. What it does not do is give me my score. Why? Go back to the syllabus. I only have a very limited number of scenarios, and in order to keep it fair, to make sure that you're going through and you're thinking and you're considering this, then I can't give you the score at this point, but instead I give you unlimited attempts. And which score do I record in PAWS for you? Only the highest. So whichever your highest score is, that one is going to be locked in. Let me click on exit now. I'm going to click on this overview of marketing folder again, just so I can see inside. I know I'm still working on my Learn Smart. I have to make sure I go back and complete that. And I did this very first drag and drop with mouse, and I've locked in a score. And I hope I read and really made careful decisions. Hope I have that great score. I also have this one that says this is a drop down or keyboard control. Now what you're going to see is that the questions are the same. They're just presented in a different format. So let me click on that to demonstrate. Same unlimited attempts, and of these two options, whichever one has the highest score for you, that's what I'm going to record. Begin. When I say record, in PAWS, where your grade is, and then I'm going to click on Continue. Now, this is the same activity. It's just instead of dragging items in and hovering your mouse over something for a description, instead you're going to see that description here, and you're going to have this drop-down option of product, price, place, or promotion. Those same 4 choices. Now, 4 choices for each question, 8 questions. So 2 of these are going to be product. 1 will be for a good, 1 will be for a service. Okay, so you'll go through, you know, I'm just not even reading, I'm just picking the answers. But you can use whichever one that you want. But again, this is for accessibility, just makes the assignment a little easier for some people to navigate, but the assessment is still the same. All right, notice at the bottom we have to make sure that we see that there's 1 of 6, so we're not yet ready to submit. Instead, we need to go to Next. And now it's the same, right? Same video, same questions. Again, I'm going to arbitrarily answer A. And I'm just, you know, make sure that you're always scrolling down to see those questions. I'm just kind of demonstrating that you have the questions down here. Oops, now it's time to submit. Submit for scoring, otherwise cancel. I'm going to submit. And again, no results, because that's going to be delayed until after. All right. Again, here's the Chapter 1 folder. Again, I'm going to click to expand, and I'm going to scroll down to see all my assignments. So far, we've explored the Learn Smart, and we've looked at the interactive homework assignments. And you know, we can look at a quiz. What is the quiz? The quiz is one of your, you know, it's a quiz assignment, and you're used to that. But the quiz is different in this sense. First of all, you have only 3 attempts. So notice when I open this, it says that in this case, I've already used 1 of those 3 attempts. Well, I'm going to go ahead and start it again. I'm not going to hurt my score. If I've already got a 100%, repeating the quiz is not going to hurt my grade. I'm only going to record for you in PAWS your highest attempt. Why is that important to take perhaps all 3 attempts? Because this quiz is drawing questions from a pool of questions, and that pool of questions is the same pool of questions that is used for your test over these chapters. So why not go ahead and get that exposure to this pool of questions so that you can study and learn? You see how much this is about your learning and immersing you into marketing, which I hope that you enjoy. But it does take time. It does. That's how the learning works. Okay, let's go ahead and begin. I have 60 minutes, but what, 10 questions, right? So we can do this. We got this. No problem. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm on my 3rd attempt. Current attempt 3 I had already completed. Okay, got to be careful about that. I thought I had done that other attempt. Okay, so you would go through, this is a quiz just like any other. Make sure you're clicking on Next. I am just completely guessing. Now, I do have some references over here, so if I wanted to open my book, maybe in another browser tab, I could do that. I could have that open in another tab, and that might encourage me as I look at the references to say, you know what, let me go back into Chapter 1. Specifically, let me look at Objective 3 so that I can better answer this question and, you know, get the right answer. Okay? I'm just going to quickly go through this. And I tell you what, I won't even answer any more questions. I'm just going to submit. Now, it does tell me I haven't answered all the questions, but I'm going to submit anyway. Now this time, instead of exit now, it tells us view the results. So I can go back in, and I see that I missed the first question, but I do have that link for references so that I can look this up in the book, maybe do better next time. Then I can go to the next one. Oh goodness, I missed about, a bunch of questions here, right? Okay, so I know I need to look these things up study this a little bit more. And then of course there are questions that I didn't answer, so definitely need to look those up so that I can answer those correctly next time. Okay, I'm going to exit this. So the difference is on this, you have only 3 attempts. It's a quiz like quizzes are. It's beneficial to you to use all 3 attempts as a study guide, and you have those references so that you can have the book open. Now when I said you can have the book open, in this particular case, what you may want to do is use this link to the book. Rather than doing the Learn Smart assignment, maybe you want to just click this. See how that opened in another tab? So I can have the book open as I'm doing my studies. Okay? Now here's another difference with the quizzes. Do you see how it says See Report? This will appear after you have completed the quiz at least one time. You see that also under this interactive presentation, but not yet under the interactive homework. When your results are available to you, you can come back and click See Report. What you'll start to see is how you're doing on the assignments. Now we know with the interactive homework I haven't released. I don't release that until after the assignment due date. But once it's released, you'll be able to come here and see these results. Under quiz, look at that. Now, if I think this is my score, I might panic and email the instructor and say, you said you were only going to show us record the highest score. And that is what I said, and it is what I'm going to do. And where is your final score recorded? In PAWS. That's where the grades are, right? This is an average, and that's just something that Connect shows you. It's just some nice information. But when I click that arrow over to the side, now I get to see each and every individual attempt, and I can go back in and I can view those individual attempts. So maybe I want to look at this first attempt, right? And so now I can start to review my answers on that. And I can look at references. What a great study tool. Okay, and I mean I can go next through this and all that kind of thing. I'm going to exit out of that. Alright, so how did we get there? Well, let me go Menu, Classes, because I need to get back. I don't see a quick way to get back, and go to my class. And when I expanded the Chapter 1 folder next to the individual assignment, that's where I see that See Report. And I want to show you the presentations as well. But as a reminder, how did I open the book? Just as a book, not as an assignment. That was this link over here on the left. Okay, you're starting to see how this all works together? Menu, Classes, the link to our class. Expand the chapter folder so that you can see all your activities, and you can see little things like See Report. Guess what? If you were only viewing that to-do list, which is the default page that you arrive at, how would you know to come back and view the results, See Report, when the assignment has finished and you can actually see this? You'll miss that. If you just use that to-do list, you're missing so much information. So don't forget to come back and view that information. Finally, let's look at the interactive presentations. These are also drawn from a pool, so you might get one that's slightly different than your classmate. I've opened that up. It says I have 2 hours to complete this and unlimited attempts. Now this is only a 5-point assignment. Learn Smarts are 20 points. They're going to take some time. Don't skip them because they're 20 points. If you skip the Learn Smart and do one of the interactive homeworks and the quiz, and you make 100 on both of those, you have an F. Because these are 10-point assignments, the interactive homework and the quiz, and the Learn Smart is 20. So if your strategy is I'm going to skip some of these, not recommended, not recommended. Okay, now we're on the 5-point interactive presentation. Think of this as somewhat of a class lecture. I'm going to click on Begin, but always interactive, always interactive. Yes, let's begin. Really want to begin? All right, and so this is what they look like. Now, In the previous examples, I have stressed to you that you should always come down here and click Next to progress through the assignment, but not so on this particular example. Now, or on these interactive presentations. Now what they have you do is advance through the parts. Okay, so part 1 is going to be to watch this video, and then I would click on part 2. And in this part of the video, they're going to focus on marketing and value. I'm going to watch this short video. Then I'm going to click on part 3. This video is going to focus on creating value for goods. Then I'm going to click on part 4. And now I have some questions to answer. So you see where the points are coming. So I'm just going to, arbitrarily answer these. And notice that when I answered these, parts 5 and 6 lit up. So now I can advance there. Now I'm going to watch this video on creating value for services. Then I'm going to advance to part 6, and I'm going to answer some questions. And when I answer those questions, I can get to part 7, where I conclude with this video that gives me an opportunity to reflect. Now that I've gone through all parts of this, now I can submit. I'm going to submit again, and I can view my results. So take that time to go back through the questions. Remember, I had questions on, I think it was 4 and also 6, so I can start to maybe look at the references, look at that link to the ebook. References, you know how that works. And what about a link to the ebook? Well, it pops it open. I already have it open in this other tab, but it pops it open so I can click on that link. Okay? All right, I'm going to exit this. Again, one more time. I'm under Menu, I'm under Classes, and I'm under the class, because when I do that versus this to-do page, then I can expand my Chapter 1 folder, and then I can come back and I can see the report, and this allows me to view my results for all the attempts. If I click on this, then it will see the average, but if I expand it, I can see my attempts. You can also view the reports by clicking on the menu and going to Results. I'm going to click Results, and I'm going to click on our class. Now, what do I see? What do I not see? I see the averages, and I see I've taken 2 attempts. Remember, these scores are being withheld until after the due date, and which time I'll be able to see it. But you know what else I don't see? I don't see the Learn Smart assignment. That's because it's still in progress. The Learn Smart data, the end result does not show until you either run out of time, the due date passes, or you complete the assignment. Now what I can do is click on Menu and look at Insight. Well, at this point, there's no great insights, but once you finish that Learn Smart, you will start to see the results of that confidence. How confident are you? High confidence, low confidence. You'll start to see some really cool information inside of that. So keep that in mind in terms of these reports. So you can see how you're doing. You can see how you're progressing. At this point, there's just nothing. Let's see, I'll click on how am I doing. I don't think there's anything to display at this point. Okay. I'm going to leave Insight at this point, but I did want to point that out to you. Menu, Classes, you have Results, you have Insights, but I'm going to go to our class. And again, you have all those assignments that you can go into, and at any time I can, up to the due date, I can go right back in to this Learn Smart assignment. Final note on this, you will see that the Learn Smart changes into a status of recharge after you have completed it or after the due date. That means when you're going into it, you're recharging your brain, you're studying, but you're not affecting your score. So when you see that recharge, that's all right. Okay, I'm going to stop there because I think now you have a great feel for your assignments and the work in this class. And with that, we'll go back to Connect. I will say if I need to log out, then the menu, and notice it's down here at the bottom so you can log out. And now that I've created my username and password and connected it to the website, because I started at that all-important website, that we saw, now I can just log in from this kind of main connect page. All right, so now we go back to PAWS. Because when I started, I was in PAWS and I was going through these getting started materials. And we clicked this link to our class. So, you have, look at this, syllabus, office hours, the grading rubric for your module discussion, which will be around test time, your class schedule, which we've gone over. We stopped and completed that assignment right away. Now, I need to make sure that I am reporting that I'm attending the class. So I'm going to immediately complete my first attendance quiz. Those are my instructions. And remember, I'm logged in as your instructor, but I'm just using a view that is the student view, and for that reason it's not going to let me take the assignment. Yeah, I think I'm kind of stuck right here. I don't think it's going to let me take the assignment. Yeah, no, it didn't. So at the bottom of this page, you're going to see an option to, it says click Start Quiz to begin. So click that. You're going to see the one question that you need to answer to earn these required points. Don't miss out on that. All right. Now, I could click this next button and just keep paging through. I like to get a better overview of what I'm walking through here. See these check marks, meaning I've completed things. I didn't look at the module discussion, did I? Okay, and I probably should. Make sure you complete that quiz. I haven't done that. And look at its due. Okay, it's due on Saturday, so make sure. And I need to introduce myself. So introduce yourself, and you can see that I've already posted my discussion. I'm going to click that, and what you would do is come down here towards the bottom, start a new thread. Give it a subject that you like, and then type your introduction, and when you finish that introduction, click on post, right? And I think this is going to be great that we all get to meet each other in this way. Love to be introduced to you. Just a nice professional business introduction. So I'm going to cancel out of that, and let me go back to my breadcrumbs there, and finally you'll get down to learner expectations of instructor and instructor expectation of learners, and I encourage you to read through that so that you have this overall understanding of the class. Final thing that I'll point out as we're exploring PAWS, because that would take care of your immediate assignments, right? So you can hit the ground running in the course, is make sure you've taken that first attendance quiz, and I have an extra link to it there so that you don't forget it. In Connect Help, if you run into trouble, I have information here. This you may especially want to read. Understanding how your Connect grades work, so that if you're concerned, I don't see my grades in PAWS yet, there's that information. If you need to contact tech support for that, lots of great information here. What about PAWS? If you're new to PAWS, you're going to be posting in discussion boards. You have required assignments in PAWS. The library has some very helpful videos that they have. I have some as well. I will admit they've gotten just a little bit outdated, but they might still provide some overall guidance, but these videos from the library will guide you through. Now also, just looking ahead, Module 1, look at the resources that you have. For the Module 1, the learning outcomes, some PowerPoint slides if you want to page through those, some chapter notes. This is going to tell you where do I go to complete these chapter presentations. Well, because I've shown you to go to Connect, but also you're going to see, remember I said you had 3 of these attendance quizzes. I told you that in the video when I reviewed the syllabus and the schedule with you. So you can see those links there. So I encourage you to look through all of that. Also, especially if you're new to PAWS or just unfamiliar, you might notice that you can go to communication, and you could go directly to discussions. You can email your classmates by clicking on class list, so lots of good things to explore here. Under assessment, this is where you can view your grades. Now, final note, and then we're going to wrap up this video. I see and you see this little bell up here. Remember how I told you in Connect I don't like the to-do list because it obscures your view of all the materials that are out there if you're not aware, right? Now that you're aware, you just simply use all the views and use them to your advantage. Well, that's what this little bell does, because it implies to you that the only thing that's important is the numeric grade. On your discussion, you got a 10 out of 30 points. What? And you email me, right? And you say, oh, I would like to know. Yes, I know that you will, absolutely. And you should know. And I have already told you. And where do you see that feedback on your grade? You don't see it under the little bell, because the little bell is filtering, it's tunneling your view so that you only see, for example, that one number, that one new change. It's taking all these tools and resources and it's giving you tunnel vision. Not good, in my opinion. It is handy if you know that that's what's happening, because then it can be like, okay, I see that, but now I want more information. How do I do that? Assessment, and then grades. You can go to grades. Now, when you go to grades, I'm going to click this and I'm going to click grades, but I'm going to pause the video just in case it reveals our class list. Remember, I am, as the instructor, I sometimes see things differently. Excellent. It did exactly what I needed it to do. So I clicked on assessment and then I clicked on grades, and here's what it's showing me. It's saying here's how many points I can earn for that attendance quiz, and as soon as I complete that quiz I'm going to see the points there, so I'll know that I've gotten them. Same, as they become available and I can complete these others. Now, these other attendance quizzes, I'll see those points. Now, the introduction discussion, I have to manually grade that. So as soon as I email you and I say your grades are posted for the introduction assignment, you'll be able to come here, and if I've given you some detailed feedback, which sometimes I do, especially on the introductions, you'll see it right there and you'll be able to read that feedback. If you only click that little bell, you'll miss it. You'll miss that feedback, right? That will become especially important. For example, let me scroll all the way down. Look at all these grades. As those grades are entered in, you're going to see all that. It will become especially important for these discussions because you have 3 of them. And on the first one, I'm going to give you some feedback and I'll be kind in terms of the points, right? Because you didn't fully understand, and I get that, and it's the very first module discussion for the class. But when I give you that feedback, then I would expect that for the module 2 discussion that you're heeding those warnings that I gave you, if any, for the module 1 discussion. So you're improving throughout. Your module 3 discussion will obviously be at a much better caliber, right? But you're all going to start out at a great high caliber, so I'm not even worried. But I do want you to know that's where, if I'm telling you good job, you're going to miss it, right? I've said, gosh, that's the best posting I've ever seen, and I do give that kind of feedback. You'll miss it if you're not looking under grades. So once again, how'd I get here? And look how long this page is. We have to scroll down. I went to assessment and I went to grades. How is your final grade calculated in this course? Is it calculated using values in Connect? No. It is calculated using these values. So when I email you and I say I just posted your grades in PAWS, come out here, assessment grades, and let's look at those grades. Also, rather than giving you, like the bell does, just the one most recent grade posting that was made, maybe 2 or 3 or 4 grades that were posted, it allows you to get that snapshot. Where are my grades? How is it looking, right? Do I have mostly 20 out of 20s? Do I have mostly 18 out of 20s? Do I have mostly 10 out of 20s? Do I have a lot of zeros? It allows you to see that snapshot. One final note. As we start to post grades into these categories, you're going to see, and in each one of these, that PAWS will mark the next assignment. So it'll probably mark chapter 2 with red text that says dropped. What? Does that mean I don't do it? No, not at all. It means that PAWS is trying to calculate your grade, and you have drop grades, and the system is aware of that. So as it's trying to calculate what your grade is at this point in the class, well, it's trying to drop your lowest grade. Well, you have a lot of zeros because you haven't had time to do the work yet. Ignore that dropped. For right now, when you see that red text that says dropped, just ignore it. It really doesn't make sense until the end of the semester when you have all your grades in. Then you can start to look and say, hey, I had that one really bad interactive chapter homework, chapter 6. I just did awful on it, and I got a 2. And you might see that PAWS has it marked as dropped. And indeed, if it's your lowest grade, that is the one that will be dropped. Okay, so that'll help you in calculating your overall grades, but in staying on pace with them. Much better to be monitoring these grades throughout our 10 weeks than in week 10 saying, oh no, what do? I don't want you to be caught off guard like that. Part of being successful is really staying on top of it as you go. Okay, so we're at a little more time. We're at about the, even what, it's longer than I meant to talk, but I hope this was helpful. Welcome to your first day of class. You know, it's such a rich set of tools. There's a lot of learning opportunities. I know it feels kind of heavy right now as you enter into all this work, but I'm here to support you. The tools are here to support you. We've got lots of resources for you. This is just about getting you into those resources and helping you feel comfortable. Really look forward to a great summer, folks, and I welcome you to this class. Thank you so much for being here this summer. We'll talk to you again soon. Bye.